Before you get angry at this video and dislike it before even watching it because you're a fanboy, be sure to watch the opposing video to this one, how the PlayStation 4 Pro could beat the Xbox One Scorpio, and then come back and watch this one afterwards. So this generation is the first generation since we started defining console generations in the first place that we've had hardware upgrades, significant hardware upgrades, in the middle of the generation while still staying on the same platform. Sure, we've had this happen before with the Atari 5200, but back then there wasn't really any definition of console generations, and yes, we did have stuff such as the Sega 32X, but you have to remember that was an upgrade to the already existing hardware that you bought separately and put onto it. The generation, we're having separate boxes entirely that upgrade the hardware and give us updated graphics and visuals and performance. Now, the reason Sony and Microsoft are doing this? It's two major reasons. The first reason is that they do not want gamers migrating away from their consoles over to PC, because this happens every generation. The consoles get weak, and gamers move over to PC because they want extra performance and graphics. A lot of people reluctantly do this, and you can tell they reluctantly do it because they go back to the new consoles when they come out. If Microsoft and Sony can release these new boxes, maybe they can hold off those migrators for a while. The second reason is that they want to make sure that they have boxes that are ready for the new 4K TVs that are about to saturate the market. Especially Sony, who sells 4K TVs and wants a compelling box to make it so that you'd be willing to buy the TV. Now, with these two very similar purposed boxes on the market, how could Microsoft beat the PlayStation 4 Pro with their Xbox Scorpio? Well, there's a few very important things that they need to do if they want this thing to compete with and beat the PlayStation 4 Pro. Now, the first thing that they need to do is that they need to make sure the price of this thing is compelling and not that much higher than the PlayStation 4 Pro. If that means taking a loss on the system, then so be it. Microsoft is a huge company that reels in tons of money per year, lots of profits. They're one of the biggest companies on the planet, and they are not dealing with money problems right now, especially with Satya Nadella killing it right now with Windows and what he's doing with all their other policies, and Phil Spencer at the helm of Xbox helping out there. Microsoft is a huge company, so they could easily afford to lose some money on each console sold if that meant keeping it at a compelling price to compete with the PlayStation 4 Pro. The PlayStation 4 Pro is $400 right now, and there's a very good chance that Sony could drop that price to $350 when they see what the Xbox Scorpio is going to be priced at. So Microsoft, do not sell this thing for higher than $600. If you can, get it to $500. Because if this thing is too far away from the PlayStation 4 Pro, then Sony could easily take advantage of that, and the PlayStation 4 Pro will completely dominate. Remember what happened when the Xbox One was released? Yeah, that $100 price difference made a big difference on how people decided which console to get that holiday season. Now, the second thing that they need to do, and they're probably going to do this because they already did it with the Xbox One S, is they need to include a 4K UHD Blu-ray player inside this machine. People underestimate how much impact that has on console sales. Look at how well the PlayStation 2 did when it was released, simply because it was a cheap DVD player. Heck, a lot of people are buying the Xbox One S right now because it's a good way to get 4K Blu-ray players into the living room without having to spend as much as the other players, plus you get games and other features from it. It's obvious, they should throw that in there because that right there will guarantee a lot of sales of the thing, even if the Xbox One S already has that. Now, the third thing that Microsoft needs to do is that they need to do what Phil Spencer just recently hinted at, and that they need to include native Xbox backwards compatibility. Here's the thing. The original Xbox was pretty much just an off-the-shelf PC slapped together into a console box. There's nothing too complicated about it. It's a Pentium 3, it's a regular NVIDIA GeForce card. There's nothing too complicated about it that Microsoft can't make an emulator. They were able to emulate Xbox games on the Xbox 360. If they were able to do it decently smoothly on that machine, then the Xbox One, especially the Scorpio, should have no issue doing that whatsoever. That would be a huge compelling reason for people to buy the system if they know that their Xbox 360 and Xbox games will also work on the system. I mean, honestly, the PowerPC emulation of the Xbox 360 is probably a little tricky to code, which is why you have to wait for backwards compatibility patches for the Xbox 360 games on the one. But the original Xbox, every game should be natively working with the thing from the get-go. I'm actually really surprised this isn't the case already. But that feature needs to be put in because that'll be a huge deciding factor between the Xbox One Scorpio and the PlayStation 4 Pro. Because honestly, Sony's been making it a pretty clear point that they don't want to do that so that they can push their PlayStation Now service. And finally, the last thing that Microsoft needs to do is do some dirty advertising tactics. I don't mean like illegal false advertising tactics, but maybe like a toned-down version of what Sega did back in the day. Make the general consumer know that the Xbox Scorpio is the most powerful console on the planet. Maybe take some shots at Sony without directly mentioning them or anything. Unlike other 4K consoles on the market, the Xbox Scorpio plays a native 4K, higher resolutions, and includes a 4K UHD Blu-ray player, something the competition simply can't keep up with. I know that was a terrible tagline, but I just came up with that on the spot. Imagine what they could do if they just pointed out those specific things. The more graphical horsepower, the Xbox backwards compatibility, Xbox 360 backwards compatibility, I'm talking about the first one if they even add it in the first place, and the 4K UHD Blu-ray player. They need to make it clear that this system has the features that the PlayStation 4 Pro does not have, because if they don't do that, then people will just look at the PlayStation 4 Pro as another 4K entertainment box, another 4K gaming box, even though it doesn't say 4K gaming on the box, and think, oh, this one's cheaper, I'll buy this one. You know those demo videos on computer monitors and 4K TVs you see in Best Buys and other electronic stores where they show the 1080p image as really overly blurry and then they show the 4K image? They could easily do that in their advertisements too, if they show the Xbox Scorpio being a lot more crystal clear than the competition, whether they mention Sony or not. They could do that, although I think they should probably stay away from that as much as possible, because not everyone has the vision to see that difference, and as we can tell from YouTube graphical comparisons, cable and internet both compress video to the point where, honestly, the difference that you would see in person just doesn't show up online, or on TV. Honestly, it's a common misconception I'm seeing a lot in this community that the Xbox Scorpio won't really have to do anything to beat the PlayStation 4 Pro because it's more powerful and people will buy it for that reason. Now, yes, there are going to be people that buy it for that reason because they're tech savvy and they know what they're talking about, but power alone has never ever been the reason a console is sold well, and people need to realize that. Microsoft needs to take some careful steps and specific steps in order to make sure that the Xbox Scorpio beats the PlayStation 4 Pro or at least matches it, and that's important, and they're not stupid and they know that. So what do you think? Let me know in the comments ways that you think the Xbox Scorpio will beat the PlayStation 4 Pro and the kinds of things that Microsoft should do if they want to make sure that the Xbox Scorpio wins. And like I said in the beginning of this video, please go to my other counterpart video to this one about how the PlayStation 4 Pro could beat the Xbox Scorpio, and watch that one too, and definitely comment on that one too, because I want to get kind of two points of view on this channel and see what people think. Anyways, you all have a great rest of your day.